What's up, Patreon? I'm gonna go over my editing process. A lot of you ask about it. I know my shit's dope, so I figured I'd break it down. I just uploaded, or I haven't uploaded yet, but I scheduled to upload quality versus quantity. I think it's one of my best videos. I really do. I think everything happens for a reason. This one, well, we'll see how people respond to it because you guys are the judge. It's not me. But yeah, there's a lot of editing stuff that went on here, and I like to talk about it because I think this is a good example. I used tons of different footage. I had to rewrite this commentary like 4 times. I re-recorded the commentary like 4 times too. Um, and yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. I was very particular with this. I'm usually picky with my videos and picky with what I choose to put in, but this one I was like specifically, like for example, um, I was gonna use this dog footage that I recorded with me and my dog like a couple months ago, but it just didn't fit the theme of the video enough. You're supposed to be cinematic, or I'm supposed to try to be cinematic and like a filmmaker, so it didn't fit. So I had to scrap all this footage, and then I went back into the city and I filmed these skaters. I filmed like B-roll of cars, me climbing shit. That kind of fit the theme of the video more. But this footage is good. I probably will use it for another video. But basically, I'll break it down like step by step. You can see here. Well, first I use Adobe Premiere and I use After Effects. That's what I use to edit all my videos, and I make a shit ton of sequences. So I went to film school for 2 years, and I did learn a lot in film school. But first, you want to start off by like creating a bunch of bins. I make like my footage bins, like here, footage. I have my extras bin, that's like random shit, like title screens and green screens or effects or whatever. I have my audio bin right here. I have New York City, and then like I kind of get lazy and I don't organize everything, but try to keep everything organized to some degree, because if you have big projects like there's so much going on here, you have to be organized. And I'm a very disorganized person. You can look around my fucking room. I'm not clean, very disorganized. I have piles of shit. But in editing, you got to have a system. And so the best way to do it if you're doing an extensive edit is to make a shit ton of sequences. So sequences, if you, like, I don't know how beginner some of you are, but you have to. It's like the timeline is your sequence. So I start off with a bunch of assemblies. So this is not a good example because I fucked up this assembly. But if I go into New York assembly, for example, I went to the city and I shot a bunch of footage, and then I compiled every single usable clip in chronological order. And so I'll cut down the scraps. Like if I'm setting up the shot and it's recorded, then I'll cut that out. Basically, the assembly is just a sequence of all the footage that's usable. And so this is what I have here. And from the assembly, you can go into an edit. And so this is called Wednesday edit, this sequence, and it's basically if I want if I want to put like a clip over this audio section right here, I will go into my assembly, take it out, and put it in here. Simple stuff, but it really helps organization because you know what clips you have, you get used to looking through, you get familiar with everything, and trust me, you have to make an assembly and then make a rough cut. Also, when you start a new day, always make a new sequence. I have so many right here. The Wednesday edit, I have audio editing, Mochi assembly, that's my dog. The drawing cut, this is the cut where I add all the drawings in After Effects. But yeah, that's besides the point. Let me just get into the good stuff, the stuff you actually want to hear me talk about. If you even want to hear me talk about it. Some of you probably aren't even editors, you just want to hear me talk. I had to record this twice because I realized I was recording in the wrong frame rate, so apologies, my... kind of out of breath. Alright, so the video starts off pretty well. I got these shots on a playground, and I like to do this thing where I fade in all the time. So you just change the opacity, you set 2 keyframes, that's what these dots are. You keyframe it from 0 opacity to 100 opacity. And if you don't know what opacity means, it's just like basically how much of the image you show. And so at maybe 43% right here, that's why it's kind of dark. And then at 100% you see it all the way. I also added a gradual tint effect. This is the tint effect right here. And if I turn it on and off, you see it turns it from black and white into color. And it kind of, I like starting off like that because it brings you into my world in a way. It's like, all right, we're in my reality now. Don't jack my style. You can learn from the stuff like I'm teaching you here, like some of the stuff but please don't take all my editing swag. This edit was very extensive. Like you could see here, you're supposed to organize everything in a correct way. Like all audio tracks, like audio track 1 should all be commentary. Track 2 should all be effects. Track 3 should all be music. But I kind of jumble it around just to get things to fit, and if like things need to overlap. So I'm not exactly a traditional editor, but that's just how I get used to it. But you should learn the right way. There's so many sound effects in this video. This video is a good example of audio mixing and everything. I have my big headphones on and I audio mix everything to make sure it sounds perfect. And even though like most people watching YouTube videos are taking a shit watching it on their phone, still it's important to me because I like to make things. So like for example, I'm climbing this ladder here, and if I solo this audio, I'll turn it up. Maybe you can hear it through the camera. But I've just found, I went on freesound.org and I just found like a clip of someone climbing a metal ladder, and I timed it up with every time I grabbed the ladder. You see, like all that's fake. You know, the audio there was very busy and it didn't sound as good as I wanted it to sound. So I cut it out and I added this track as well, which is like New York City ambiance. If you solo the track, you can hear it alone. This is something I found online. And so you add the ambiance of like this of the city. Here, this is too loud. It's my commentary. And then you add the ladder sounds. So just little stuff like that is scattered all throughout the video. It really helps bring the viewer into what's happening. This is a lot of shit now. But if you see something, you want to hear it too. That's just how the senses work. Like if I'm, oh yeah, say if there's this fan here, there's an artificial sound. I'll solo this track. Can you even hear it? Oh, my audio's down. Like this fan sound is fake. It's some shit that I found online. Yeah, but it helps bring the viewer, it helps match your senses. You get what I'm talking about. And so keep going here. This track is, oh, this is dope. So this title screen I copied from like TV shows that I've seen a lot now. I notice a lot of TV shows are kind of ditching the old format of like a long title sequence where they're like, haha, and the characters are like freeze frame action or whatever. Now they just kind of do this jarring title screen. And the text usually takes up the entire frame, which I love. And so to get this right, it's hard. Like probably most people type verses just VS period, but I wanted it to fill up the whole frame. And so you have to size everything. If I open up this text, like everything is sized here to make sense. Like if you look into, so there's hold up, it's leading and kerning. I don't know where it is, but if you look in, oh yeah, here it is. I'm just jumbling around right now. But yeah, you can't see it because I don't know why. But you have to change the leading and kerning to get the spacing right. And this is just fucking up. But just basically what I'm saying is you gotta tweak with shit. And I just fucked up this. And so to get this purple looking screen here, you have to use this effect called invert. And you can see here if I turn it on and off, you can see the effect go away. And it looks cool. Like it looks dope in both shots. I could have used this, to be honest. But I really like the jarring sound, especially synced up with this music that I picked. It just sounds good. And also the normal invert effect will bring you to RGB, which doesn't sound as colorful. Like this is a really colorful sounding song. So I picked the purple one, and it's called HLS. I don't know what that means, but it looked cool, so I picked it. Oh god, I'm out of breath a little bit. All right, but is anyone gonna watch this? Like, does anyone care? Are you guys still watching? I'm like 8 minutes in. Yeah, thanks for sticking around. There's cool stuff going on here if you want to see how I'm editing. So right here I brought in my title screen. Just bring in the opacity, and then you put the text over the tree trunks. Nothing that complicated. If you keep going, you can see that I have this this jump cut of me throwing the cards down, and it's because I'm like, I think at this point I'm like, people think I'm creepy when I play with their kids, and so I go, where? I add this like DJ sound effect, the record scratch, and then I don't usually do this, but I did a hard cut of me throwing the cards down, and then a freeze frame where the cards are in the middle of the frame. You know, this works because it's signifying that I'm pausing something. If I'm like, hold on, pause, let me say something first. You want to show it visually, and the perfect way to do that is to show cards flying in the air, because the cards don't normally fly in the air. Simple stuff. This adjustment layer on the top is color correction. So if you turn that on and off, you can see I use LUTs I've been using recently, which means like a lookup table. Basically, it saves me the time of having to tweak everything in color correction. I kind of just pick one that someone else made, and I picked this one. I think it's called like just a basic film LUT. And this is the raw footage right here. This is what it would look like without color correction. But with the color correction, it really pops. It really looks kind of dope. And here's without. I think it makes a big difference. This just looks like normal footage you could shoot with the phone. Kinda. But when you put a good LUT on on a camera that has really good quality, it helps bring out the colors in the way that you want them to look. If you want to make something cinematic, you always have to color correct it. I think everybody should be color correcting their videos. Something that's pretty underrated in the YouTube world. So over here, this clip is funny because, so after the pause, I kind of jumped down a little bit. But this is actually, there's two things going on here. If you go to speed duration, you could see that the clip is sped up to 150% of its normal speed, and it's also reversed. So the normal clip is actually me climbing up the tree, but I thought it looked cool. Something with my pants here, it just looks cool the way it climbed down, especially when it's sped up. I don't know. And then here, I dissolve. That's what this is. I dissolve to this clip because it's kind of like we're bringing you into a story. You can see the frame is shifting here. That wasn't on purpose, just because I have to wrap my tripod around a fence, and I couldn't get it steady. But it looked cool. You know, sometimes mistakes work out. I went over this shot with the fan. This shot was so dope here. So I got in the middle. This isn't even editing, but I just want to talk about this. Like, I had to get in the middle of the street, and I was waiting for the cars to pass, and I angled my camera up really high, and also zoomed all the way out, so it's the widest angle that you can get to, and it looks like this truck is going round. So it looks really cool, especially with the graffiti on it. It's a good way to signify transition because you're revealing what's in the background. This is a great shot. Here, there's a couple things going on. So here I'm saying, like, I'm teaching Indian kids how to speak into the fan and make it sound like a robot. And so I overlaid, what did I overlay? If I hide this, yeah, so this is a fan here. And I changed the blend mode to screen. And so what you could do, you could probably lower the opacity to maybe 30-40%. But usually the blend modes are normal, which would take up the whole screen. But I wanted it to kind of blend with the shot that I already had. And I also added another effect called an earthquake effect. Something I downloaded online. It's not that hard to find. Just search earthquake effect, and it gives you that shaky feeling. Especially because I'm talking about like a vibrating sound. You want to see the visual of it. There's this layer here. I'm not sure what this layer was. This layer, oh yeah, this was just, I duplicated the street, and I added another earthquake effect. Just to give it a little more shake. It looks cool. There's people upstairs yelling. But yeah, just stuff like that. So if you're, what I do a good job of is, like, people always call this, like, shots like these B-roll, but I incorporate them with my commentary. So every shot is very deliberate. Every shot, you know, I don't shoot with exact commentary ideas in mind, but I shoot with the concept in mind. So if I'm talking about kids, if I'm talking about nostalgia and I'm talking about people and I'm criticizing society and culture like I usually do, I want to get shots of society and culture and shit. So I went into Times Square and I got these shots of a ton of people. And I know that the shot's going to be useful because if I'm like saying like, people are fucking stupid, people are so consumeristic, having a shot of 1 million people in Times Square is perfect for that. So I know that's going to fit. If I'm talking about kids and then talking about nostalgia, having shots of me climbing a basketball hoop, like looking like I'm trying to reclaim my childhood, or trying to, like, me, a goofy ass like 6'2" dude climbing a fucking playground thing. It looks funny. It looks jarring because I'm talking about how I miss being a kid and I'm not a kid anymore and I'm finally growing up. This shot was dope. This was at the Nassau County Museum. Yeah, I love doing this thing of me throwing the cards at the lens because it's a perfect place to cut. Like, right when the cards hit the lens, you can cut to something. And also, I know, like, I didn't, example here, like, I don't know what I'm going to be talking about exactly when I'm in the edit, but I know that it's going to be something aggressive, and it's gonna help me cut, basically. This shot was done by my friend. I love this thing here because it looks like it's the same size as a frame, so you can go into it. It looks so cool. Here, I think I sped it up just a little bit. Let me check. It doesn't matter. I think I sped it up a little bit, and it also put another filter on here. It's called SL Noir 1965. Just like a really dramatic black and white filter. Because not all black and white filters are the same. There's a freeze frame over here, and then another thing throwing the cards at the lens. This shot's fucking dope. Basically, I turned my tripod upside down, and I followed through these mirror things. And then here's like one of the only really, really difficult edits that I did. And it's not difficult for me anymore because I'm used to doing transition cuts like this. So this is what I'm talking about. I used to do a lot more of them, but I'm trying to be more cinematic now, and I'm trying to use my camera more to be visual. I guess. Like before, it was like I was relying on edits to be really visual, and now I want my camera to do the dirty work or do the work. So there's three things. One, I have first I'm rotating the camera, then I reverse and speed it up, and I add a channel blur effect. The channel blur like gets rid of this like purple glow you see. You can see it, the outline around everything. I love that effect. It's good. So speeding things up is really good for transitions because it helps you. Like if you're shooting at 24 frames, you can't really do a lot with the frames if you want to do like flashy edits. So speeding it up gives you more options. And also it's just like, I don't know, it just looks cool. This is the best way to explain it. And I had this shot here. The original shot, if I open it up, yeah, the original shot, this guy, it's reversed, but he was doing a trick on the skateboard and it slid all the way to my camera and I had to pick it up real quick. And so what I did, and it looks so cool because the skateboard looks like it's coming right at the lens. And so I reversed it and it looks like the skateboard is going away. And it just flows well with these two shots together. If you have the two rotating shots together, it looks dope. It looks very fluid. So you watch it all at once, it's like I'm flipping it twice. And you barely even see that there's a hard cut because it's already in rotation. And I wanted to do that rotation again, but I didn't have another shot of that. But there's two things I like about this third shot here on the ladder. One, that it matches the motion of what you see here. So you see him jumping to the right, and here I'm kind of, well, it doesn't time it perfectly, but like right there you see me move to the right a little bit. And so to get the same turning and zooming effect, I just did it all digitally, which doesn't look that great because you could see like the gaps in the corners of the frame, but you know, it still looks cool. If you watch it all together, I was happy with it. I just wish that I had a rotation on this shot, but I didn't. This shot's dope because it follows the movement of the skateboard. You see that? Also, alright, well, I'm talking so much at once. There's tons of sound effects. Like, I think this sound effect here is fake, but it had great sound. Like, this mic that I have on the camera is really good for picking up sounds, like, in front of it. It's a omnidirectional mic, I think is the word. And so it captures everything that it's directly in front of. But I wanted to get, like, these kids that I have found in New York City this looks like a fucking movie here, right? If you've seen mid-90s or they've seen the movie Kids, like, it just looks like a skater movie. It looks so dope. And it just reminded me of those 90s skater movies. So I added two effects on here, noise, and I added another channel blur. And if I take them off, it looks like normal footage, right? For the most part. Oh, also this is another lumetri color. So this is the raw footage. Actually, let me even take off the LUT. So this is the raw footage. Very kind of basic. You know, it doesn't look bad, but it doesn't have the same like pop to it. So with the LUT, already way more cinematic. Then I warmed it up a little bit to make it look more 90s. I added a channel blur to make it look like film, and then the noise to make it look like film. And so now what the grain does is it makes it look like a film camera, doesn't it? A lot of you don't know the difference between film and digital, but it makes it look like those old cameras from the 90s. Just with a little bit of grain. You know, not too much that it looks like it's VHS, but yeah. Also, you see, like, I have a light facing my face, and something about it is not doing well in the shutter. And so you see this giant flicker effect behind me, but I don't hate it. Man, I've been talking for 20 minutes already. My throat is so dry. I might speed through the rest of this because, you know, you don't need to hear see everything. But yeah, and over here I just downloaded two green screens. If you click on the original clip, it's green. You just go to the ultra key effect and key it out, and then overlay it on what you want it to go on. So this is what it originally looks like. I sped it up. I added two of them, and it just looks cool. Yeah, this montage is dope. Let's look at that real quick. Boom, boom. Doesn't that look like a 90s skater movie? Really proud of that. To get this shot here, you had to zoom in all the way. This shot could only be done with the zoom lens. You need to get a zoom lens to get a shot like this, but that looks so dope. It fits the frame perfectly. What a shot. And I couldn't adjust the shutter in time to get this shot. Like, the cops just pulled up and kicked him out, so that's why everything looks a little blown out. But I fixed it a little bit in color correction, but it doesn't look perfect. But it does look cool that the cop is kicking him out. Here I did a rack focus shot. A rack focus just means you change the focus, so completely out of focus, and then I go in focus. Not a lot of crazy editing here. Basically, there's just a lot of sound effects in this video. Like, that was a big part of editing, is putting all the sounds in. Yeah, walking, Times Square, Times Square. Skater kids, cross dissolve. Here I lower the opacity of my face. Oh yeah, this I could talk about. Here I try to get the Cardi B image to match up with the ladder. I like matching perspective when I do edits like this. Like a lot of time when I do drawings, I like to match up the drawing with the perspective of the image. So say there's a long wall and it's going diagonal in the frame, I like to draw on the wall as if it's on the wall. Yeah, there's a reverse. I like to follow motion a lot. When I pick shots to use in my videos, I use a lot of them with motion. That's why I'm always climbing shit. It's just because it makes the frame more interesting. Like this here, like I'm running away. It just looks fucking cool. This edit was fun. Nothing that complicated, but it works really well. Like you have to do a lot of different overlays. First, like you zoom into the frame, so you get a screenshot of a YouTube video, and then you zoom out into it, and then over here I cut to me saying like, what the fuck? And this was a funny line, and so like even though the audio finishes right here, I kept it going because I had a funny face. And so that's called a J cut. That's called a J cut, something I do a shit ton when the audio from the next clip comes in before you see the video. So let me just play that real quick, because what I'm saying might not make sense.
What's the fun in that? I would hate my.
So I say I would hate, but you hear it before you see it.
I would hate my own.
And it helps you bring into the next. It helps bring the viewer into the next shot easily. This one I had a lot going on here. So you just make a mask around what you want to show. So I just masked out the bush here basically, and then so yeah, I'm getting tired of talking about this. Basically. I'm getting mad lazy talking about this, but yeah, you just mask it out. Here I faded in, same thing, masked it out. I love doing these red X's. I don't know, I kind of want to make that my style. I think you need to develop an editing style, and if you have like similar callbacks, you've probably seen this in a million videos. You want to do something repetitively. Why is there two video tracks here? See, this was a mistake. I'm not using this shot at all, so I should have just put this video track like that. Because yeah, man, I'm fucking this up right now. I'm getting real tired of talking. Oh yeah, this shot was dope. So I found this guy playing basketball, and I wanted to get the fence out of focus, like blocking him a little bit. So, but the original shot, yeah, and it was kind of blown out. You see that? So I had to color correct it a lot. I added a lot of shadows, I added a lot of contrast, and I lowered the blacks. So right now you don't really see the fence enough. It's not popping enough. It's already out of focus. So you need to be able to see that there's a difference between the fence and him. So I lowered the shadows a lot, and look how much better that looks. Like if you take off the color correction, let me just show you what this looks like without color correction. There's 3 different color corrections of this one shot. That's what it originally. Oh wait, and let me take off the grain. I added the same like film blur effect that I did before. This is what the original shot looks like. Isn't that crazy? Like what you can do with editing is you can really change a shot completely. Add the noise, channel blur, color correction 1, 2, and 3. Completely different shot.
Easy to attain. It's not easy.
Blah, shut up, Nico. SNEAKO. Don't tell people your name. Yeah, this shot's dope here. I'm talking about my shots more than editing. But yeah, it's how it is. Yeah, so over here I have the focus set on the skateboard that's close to me, and then so everything else is kind of out of focus. I really like having stuff in the foreground in focus. Then he skates away, and when I say something like hey, let me let you into something, I masked out my face and I matched it with this line. So if you see the line in the sidewalk, this is where I cut the mask. It's not perfect, but I think I was tired. Here's reversed. I do a lot of reverse effects. The same thing. Lower the opacity. Put my face over here so you see 2 things at once. Which is uncommon. You don't see it a lot in YouTube videos. Yeah, and that's basically it. That's basically it. And so the last thing after I do all that is I make a new sequence and I do my drawing cut. And this is where I do my drawings. See all these red clips? These clips here. These are what I have drawn over. And you got to time everything. You got to sync everything up with what you're saying. So I haven't really been doing like drawings. I've mostly just been drawing words and timing them up with how I speak. And that's what I did here. There's not a lot of them. I felt like the filming was good enough where I didn't have to rely too much on drawings. Like everything happens for a reason. I really had to rely on drawings. But this video is like the filming was good enough where it carried it. But yeah, there. See, whenever I draw, I like to, well, except for here because it's kind of a blank canvas. But basically, whenever I draw, I like to draw with something that's in the frame. You know, you got to make it interesting. I could just draw directly on the screen, but there's no fun in that. It's not visually interesting. So you gotta match something. Here, yeah, there's not really to draw on. But here, for example, like I'm drawing on the art, on the architecture. Like it's matching the perspective of what's in the frame. And that's it. That's it. I'm getting so tired of talking. Hope this video was informative. Let someone know, like if they keep asking about my editing process, tell them to watch this video. Sorry about the flicker in the background. Sorry that I'm tired. I'm about to upload this video. So thanks for watching, Patreon. Appreciate your support and contribution. Don't steal my swag, but learn from this. Like I know I'm a good editor, so it just takes a lot of practice. Like I learned everything pretty much from YouTube tutorials. I learned organization in film school, but all the effects and stuff I showed you here, I learned from YouTube. So just watch tutorials. If you want to learn how to do an effect, watch videos like music videos and look up tutorials about how to do that effect. That's it. It takes time, you know, but I didn't know how to use Premiere last year. Last year I was using like Vegas, and Vegas is terrible in my opinion. This is the best program, Adobe Premiere, in my opinion. Yeah, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.